Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a summer bonus edition of Stay Busy with the boy Armon Sadler. And I am, of course, Armon Sadler, vegan chorizo poppy, founder of BNB. We are here for another special bonus episode. Now, if you might not know all of the Armon Sadler lore, but back in the day, I did used to play football. I played tight end. It ended after high school, but I was kind of eyed on the field. But there were a few people in the NFL who I studied, and we had the very special opportunity to have one of those guys on the show. Two-time Pro Bowler. He's led the league in touchdowns alongside Larry Fitzgerald and Randy Moss in 2009. He has recently broken into a music career as a rapper, dropping his debut album, Showtime. He has acted. He's opened art galleries. He owns production companies. He's really doing everything that you love to see an athlete do post-career. We interviewed none other than Vernon Davis. And of course, we spoke to him about his debut album, Showtime, the process in going from poetry to deciding to rap, linking up with producers like Tone P and Zaytoven, his studio identity, favorite songs on the project, an interesting story about one of the songs, which I think will get a laugh out of you all. Of course, stories from the NFL, playing for the 49ers, some of the teams he hated to play, some of the defenders he hated to play, and various other things about life, his kids. Really great conversation. I enjoyed it. This was definitely a moment for me, talking to someone whose game I really studied and tried to emulate. And I hope that you all get something from it. So we're going to take a quick break. And then when we get back, I will be here with none other than the legendary San Francisco 49ers, Denver Broncos, and Washington Commanders tight end, Vernon Davis. Hope you all enjoy. Let's get right to it. First, of course, got to ask, just as one black man to another, how are you?
Good, doing really well. How you doing? Everything's going well.
I love that. Love to hear that. I'm great too, man. A good Tuesday. Weather's nice. Can't complain. Can't complain at all. So it's a very exciting time for you. Your debut album, Showtime, is out now. How does it feel to be at a place where you've accomplished so much in your career in various different fields, which we've gotten into, but now you can say, I'm a rapper who's put an album out?
Yeah, it all caught me by surprise. And it's when life is going in an unexpected way, then that's how you know you're on the right track. And it's just been amazing. It's just leaving the game of football and then finding these different avenues that I've been able to find and just navigate through it all, because no one's going to hand you anything. You have to work for everything. And I've never been the one to ask people for handouts or to expect someone to just give me something, because I know it doesn't work like that. And when you're later on, when you're at the end or when you're at the top of where you want to be, you can look back and you can cry and you can feel all of the ups and downs that you had to go through to get to where you'll ultimately be.
Absolutely. I know you started writing poetry when you were on the Commanders. What drove you to begin writing poetry? Was that more of a cathartic thing? Was that just a way to express yourself? Like, what was it that kind of got you going with that?
When I started writing poetry, when I was playing with the Commanders, Washington Commanders, I had a girlfriend at the time, and I would just write notes to her every once in a while whenever I found myself bored in meetings, or I just wanted to just express my love and gratitude towards her. And it's just, I became fascinated with the world of writing. So when I got done during COVID, I was like, hey, I wonder what it sounds like to put some instrumentals behind these words. So I went to GarageBand, started operating that and putting the instrumentals behind some of the poetry in the form of rap. And it sounded pretty cool. So then I was like, hey, let me go into the studio and try to perfect this.
Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely identify with that. I definitely had my era where I thought maybe I would start rapping too. Didn't last too long. I kind of realized that I would be better talking to the artist, interviewing the artist, but definitely a very relatable story that I'm sure a lot of people can relate to. And then getting into the studio has been a humbling process for a lot of people as well. So like that first time stepping up to the mic and like rapping over a beat, did you feel nervous? Did you feel any pressure?
I felt like I was I felt good about it. I felt like it was going in the right direction, but I also knew that I had to work. I had to work at it. And I was just finding different things. I had to find my voice. But all good things come over time, especially if you're consistent and you're diligent to the craft, and you'll figure it out at some point in time.
Absolutely. And I know Tone P has been very influential throughout your journey within music. How did you two connect?
Yeah, I have a buddy of mine. We have a mutual friend named Rob Gordon, who's a comedian. He called me one day. He's like, Tone P wants to get with you. He want to work with you. He has some beats for you. He's a producer. I was like, because I had a guy that I was working with, and I was like, okay, yeah, let me, and I did my research, but I already knew who Tone P was because of his his work with Wale and a few other local rappers or what have you. He's worked with some big name guys. So when I called him up, I was like, hey, what you got for me? So he sent me this beat and came up with the name Bounce Like This. And yeah, it's like one of my very first singles that I was able to put out, produced by Tone P.
And obviously, you've been in some big moments, some big situations, playing against some really big players on the field. But within the arena of music, was there any nerves or like trepidation working with a multi-platinum producer like so early on in your journey?
It was a little, yeah, I was a little nervous because the space was new. It was a new space for me, and I knew I had to bring out my best. And I'm just wondering the whole time I'm just wondering. I'm like, hey, what does he think? What is he thinking? Is he gonna change something? But it came out really nice. And he loved the writing, what I wrote, and it just all came together, the flow and cadence and just everything.
Sure. And then from there, you also got to work with Zaytoven. I mean, Zaytoven, his name, his work, it goes without saying. So what was it like linking up with such a legendary producer like Zaytoven?
Yeah, that was a beautiful thing coming together with Zaytoven because you know, he's established himself as one of the top producers in the game, and you know, his track record of who he's worked with, from Gucci Mane to Usher, is just phenomenal. I just think it's awesome to be able to get to have a collaboration piece with him, and for him to be able to open his doors and just help me out. I thought it was pretty cool.
How long would you say it took you to put Showtime together?
Showtime, it took us to put Showtime from creating the song to going back into the studio and just fine tuning things. It's just, I'd say about 7 months.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a work in it was a work in progress. You know what I mean? Just like, because you make these songs, you know, those are just 7 to 8 songs that we picked out of 50. You know what I mean? Because a lot of these songs, you're going to make them, but they're not going to make the cut. It's like anything else. It's just what you're listening to. So we had to really cut down on some of the songs and just use the few that we had, the few that we really enjoyed.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about that. Like the album is 8 tracks long, and I know in this era of streaming and in this era of kind of giving fans a lot, typically people will make longer 14 to 16 song albums. Did you intentionally keep it short, and if so, what was the reason for that?
Yeah, we want to kind of do like an EP. We want to stay do something small, then you know, gradually just pick up, and then next thing you know, we're coming out with more songs later on. So that was the process of all that. It was It's been great, man. It's been a great journey. Just especially the writing process, just putting my life behind instrumentals, the writing. You know, because a lot of things that I talk about is I'm talking about experiences that I've had in my life, and that's what rappers do. They go back to their past experience and their current things they're going through currently, and they put it all together, and they're able to share their message with hopes of inspiring people, giving motivation. There's always different different reasons for putting out certain things.
Absolutely. How would you describe your studio identity? Are you like one of those studio rats who's in there all the time? You do a lot. You have a pretty busy life, so I don't know if you could be there 24/7. But are you in the studio a lot, or do you keep it to when I'm inspired, I'm going to write, I'm going to record this?
I got a studio. I just actually just moved in this house like 4 months ago, and I actually built a studio out right here in my office.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So
it's pretty easy to just get in there whenever.
yeah, I just walk right. I just grab my snack and just walk right to the walk to the kitchen and walk right here into the office.
It's a good life, man. It's a good life. So you said Bounce Like This was the first track. I know you also put the singles out, Phone and How I Play It. I really enjoyed the song What's Good Brodie. Well, what's the story behind that record and how that came together?
Oh, that's very cool. It's very cool that you like that record because it actually just got picked up for a movie. It's called
Hey.
72 Hours with Sam Trammell, Nikki Whalen. It was, and I'm actually in that movie too. So they're going to use the song for when I come out, when I make when I first make my appearance on the movie. But yeah, that movie was about. So I was sitting in the house, and one of my teammates called me. He just called me out of the blue, and he was like, I never really had a relationship with this teammate. He just sometimes when you're on a team, it's just you don't really rock with everybody. You know what I mean? Like everybody's not gonna rock with you. You're not gonna rock with everybody. But when it comes to playing games, y'all, you guys are one. But off the field, you probably hang with this group. That group's over there. It just happens that way, and it's cool. But this guy that I never really hung out with called me. He's like, "Yo, what's up? What's good, Brodie?" That's what he said to me. I was like, "Hey, what's up? What's going on, bro?" He's like, "Can I borrow $30,000?" I'm like, we mid-season. I'm like, $30,000, man. I don't have $30,000, man. I got my kids. I got some bills. I can't just get up off $30,000. He's like, okay, all right, no problem, no problem. So that song is about like just that experience that I had. Like people see you, they see you doing business, they see you doing well in life, not just on the field, but you got your stuff in order, right? Mm-hmm. But then they feel the need to reach out to you. But what about hanging out with me before you ask for the money? Mm. Right, get to know me first before you just ask for money.
All right.
You know what I mean? It's just one of those experiences in life, and I just wanted to share that. That was on my heart and my mind when I was writing, and I just thought about that day because it didn't really sit too well with me during that time.
Yeah,
but I do know that people go through things and they go through their money and they don't. The infrastructure is just not right.
Yeah.
But at that time, it was just like, before you can never judge a book by its cover. You never know when you'll need someone. My grandmother used to tell me that all the time. You never know when you need someone. So for me, when I was in the locker room, I never looked down on anybody. I got to know everybody on that team, whether they wanted to know me or not. I just wanted to keep it open and let them know that, hey, I'm here for you, whatever you need. I don't need nothing from you, but I'm here. That's just how you got to rock. So that was my meaning behind that song.
Absolutely. And coming from being a successful tight end in the NFL and then transitioning into rap, there have obviously been a lot of athlete rappers throughout their careers. And some people feel like athletes often use the platforms that they built as an athlete to kind of try to take the easy way into music. But you talked a lot about the work and talked a lot about, being consistent and really growing. And so what was that experience like coming from being one of the top tight ends we've ever seen to kind of having to start over somewhere else and kind of earn that respect of people like Zaytoven and peers in rap as well?
Yeah, I don't feel like people respect me when it comes to this space right now. I don't feel like people respect me as an actor, but I'm building. I mean, I just started all this 3 years ago, so I don't expect nobody to just respect me out of the gate. It's cool because it also motivates me. And I think back when I first started playing football, I didn't go to school to play football. I went to school to play basketball. But what happened was I had to pivot. I walked into the locker room, well, not the locker room, but the gym, and I saw that the coach had his favorites. So I said, this is not going to work. Let me try football. So I walk on the field, Well, and I see the coach. I say, hey, can I try out for the team? He said, yeah, what position you want to play? I said, anything that has to do with scoring touchdowns. That year blew up. But I had to work. I know I had to continue to put that work on if I wanted to get to the ultimate place, which was the NFL. And I hold on to that, and I hold on to that process, that experience, because I know that I have to put that same process to everything that I do. And if you do that, eventually you're going to be so consistent and you're going to be so good at what you're doing, people are going to have to respect you. But I haven't gotten to that point yet because I just started. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't really, a lot of the stuff like that I'm doing now, I know that I just have to keep pushing forward. And at some point in time, I'll earn the respect. Respect is not given, respect is earned.
Yeah.
So that's what I love. That's the process I love.
Absolutely. It's a really gratifying process to see yourself earn that respect over time, especially because a lot of people come into different fields feeling entitled to it. They're like, yo, I know how nice I am, so y'all should rock with me just because I know how nice I am. But that's not how it works at all.
Yeah, you gotta be humble. You gotta be humble. You gotta humble yourself, and you have to know that it's okay. It's okay to be on the bottom. I've always been on the bottom. Even right now, I don't even feel like, a lot of people ask me, why do I feel this way? But I don't even feel like I did anything in football.
Really?
I never really felt like I did anything, even when I was playing. Even to this point now, I don't even feel like I never had surgery. I've always taken care of myself. I've always been fully committed. And fully committed as a professional athlete is getting massages 3 times a week. Make sure you see your chiropractor 3 times a week. Stretching every single day. Like, this is what you have to do. You have to be religious about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I say. Like, I've always been on the bottom, and I always feel like I'm on the bottom, because if I feel that way, then I'll continue to keep moving forward, and I continue to keep that relentless attitude, that relentless approach to everything that I do.
Yeah.
And I don't have any other explanation for that. That's just the way I am mentally, and that's where I like to stay, because I don't want to ever feel like I've achieved something, or I got to a place where I'm comfortable, and I don't feel that way. I never can.
I feel that completely, and I feel like I would love your perspective on this. It kind of feels like the mentality of a tight end. Like, I played tight end in high school and a lot of my life, and I always felt like I had to earn the respect to where I would be a focal point of the offense, because you got great running backs, you got great receivers, and a lot of teams will, especially in high school, will look at a tight end as just like, you kind of just an extra guy to block. Like, you might get a couple throws here and there. And so I feel like tight ends, we have this mentality where we're going to work extra hard, and we're not necessarily satisfied with anything. Like, even if you get one reception, it's like, well, I could have had 3, I could have scored a touchdown, like something like that. And so I kind of carry that mentality from off the field, because I'm way past my football days, to life in general. And I feel like that's kind of what I'm getting here. Do you feel like your mentality as a tight end, even though you were a focal point of the 49ers offense, do you feel like the whole psychology of being a tight end plays into how you approach rap and how you approach life too?
No, I mean, I could say that, but it could be any position. I think the process, myself just being who I am and just how I'm wired, what I've been through, a lot of how I'm wired comes from my past experiences as a kid, not having my mom around, not having my dad around, growing up in a 3-bedroom house with my 6 siblings, raised by my grandparents. You know what I mean? And that's why I say being at the bottom. That's being at the bottom. And a lot of that's where I come from. That's why my mental state is the way it is. I'm extremely grateful for everything that's been given, not the big things, but the little things as well. And I try to keep the philosophy of my grandmother, everything that she stands for. I try to hold on to that as well, because I know that it made me who I am, the guy that's sitting here today. So I hold on to that. But yeah, it just comes, it's just life. It's just how you're supposed to rock in life. And having that experience of playing football, being a tight end in high school, college, and the NFL, the growing pains that I had to go through with coach sending me to the locker room to becoming a leader, learning how to become a leader, making plays on Sundays and being expected to make those plays. I think that helped shape me, and it helped shape my mental state as well.
Absolutely. So obviously the album is out. District Funk Records. Talk to me about how you kind of got that going, got associated with District Funk Records.
Yeah, Tone P, he's the owner of District Funk Records, and I brought him in with him being from the area and us growing up in the same neighborhood. I thought it was only right for us to collaborate, come together, and just create some magic. And it's been a great journey. It's been a great journey. Everybody's not going to support you or like your work, but once you get to a certain height, they'll notice and then they'll try to support you because they see they see the buzz. You know what I mean? So it's all good. It's cool. I love being in this space. This is the best space to be.
Yeah.
Because like I said, when you get to the top, you can shed those tears and you can think about those growing pains and everything you had to, all the tough times you had to face.
Definitely. Have you connected with any other rappers or producers or executives like who have given you a really like salient piece of advice? Like what's like the best piece of advice that you've heard of from anyone in this space?
Best piece of advice is just keep going.
Simple as that.
Just keep going. Yeah. because you're going, if you keep, as long as you keep going, that's all. That's the only thing somebody can really tell you when it comes to like any craft. Really, they can just tell you to keep going, because what's going to happen is that if you keep going, you're going to learn. You're going to learn for yourself. You're going to, from trying different things and not working, not trying different things, and all of a sudden it's not working, right? Mm-hmm. So then you have to come over here, you pivot to this side, and you try this and you try that. Then you meet different people. You know what I mean? I'm about to start working with this guy named Nick Cooper out of LA. He's an interesting, amazing person, and I'm happy to have been able to meet him. He's just brilliant. He's not just brilliant as a vocal coach and musician, and he's just an all around mentor. And I walk into it's funny because I walk in to his office and I see Polo G, and I see him on calls with Usher and all these big names, and it's just I'm like, gosh, I'm with the right guy. This guy's, everybody's coming to this dude. Right. I see videos of just like tons of talent in his office. It's crazy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's incredible.
Yeah, those are the things you have to do, though. You have to continue to keep working and finding different people that can help elevate you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like it's easy to kind of get to a place where you feel like, I feel like a lot of people feel like they master the craft a bit sooner than they actually do. And I feel like it's important to adopt that mentality that you're a lifelong learner. You know, there's always something you can improve at. And you also want to keep certain skills sharp. It's kind of like a muscle. You got to keep lifting it. Otherwise it'll start to atrophy. So it's definitely something that I can relate to. So it's great to hear that.
Yeah.
Of course, I got to talk to you about your playing career. 49ers were a super exciting team throughout the time you were there. You did some amazing things on the field. What are some of your best memories or favorite moments from your time on the 49ers, Broncos, and Commanders?
My favorite memories, one of my favorite memories from, let me see. My favorite memory from when I was a 49ers was the catch I had when I was playing when we played against the New Orleans Saints. Mm-hmm. So a few seconds left on the clock. I was able to come through for the team, make the game-winning catch. Yeah. Game over. We advance and move on. That was just a very memorable moment for me, for my family, for the 49ers organization, fans. It's just something I'll be able to take with me for the rest of my life. When I was in Denver, of course, winning the Super Bowl, that was another pivotal moment for me. Memory that I'll continue to take on with me. And then coming back home to the Washington Commanders. It's nothing like it. I grew up a Commanders fan, and being able to get picked up and play in my backyard, my hometown, in front of family, friends, I'm still here. I didn't go anywhere. It's just, it left a great impression on me. I love the city, and to be able to just remain here and know that had a chance to wear that jersey,
Yeah.
that jersey of the team that I grew up rooting for. Truly special.
No, 100%. And as a tight end, as we said, you did some amazing things. You were the 4th highest tight end ever drafted, a top prospect in 2006, led the NFL with 9 touchdowns in 2009, tied with Larry Fitzgerald and Randy Moss. Like you were one of those tight ends that they had to discuss like among the top wide receivers, which it doesn't happen too often. You know, you get the Tony Gonzalez, you get the Antonio Gates, you get the Rob Gronkowskis, and I feel like throughout history, you know, decades from now, like Vernon Davis's name is still going to come up among elite tight ends, but also just elite pass catchers and touchdown scorers. Like, how does it feel to have had that impact on the game?
It feels good. It was always, the older I got, the older I became, the easier the game got for me. Like, because I worked so hard in practice and during the offseason that the game became easy. The process of the game, like getting up in the morning, going into the building, being able to hold a smile and just really genuinely enjoy being in the office, right? Stretching, getting ready for practice, going out on the practice field and staying out there longer than everybody for 14 years. That became easy for me. Like, it's pretty cool to be able to look back and say that the game was, as hard as it was, it became easy. But it only gets easy if you put the time in and if you really work on it. Like, I was watching young guys when I was with the Commanders in year 13, right? I mean, they're taking their time getting out, but I'm ready to go. Because I started my day, I started preparing and preparation mentally and from a meditation, just meditating on the game and meditating on practice. I was already there. I was already on that practice field. So when it was time for me to actually put on my gear, go outside and get ready, I was flying. I was flying out the door. I was ready to go. And a lot of the young guys couldn't understand it. That's why they started calling me the ageless wonder. Because I was doing some incredible things and I didn't know it, but people saw it.
Yeah, no, it's special. It's special. I mean, I'm sure they appreciated having that veteran presence in the locker room because it's really important. I think, especially in this era of sports, we see a lot of athletes whose personalities, and there have always been personalities within sports, but I feel like now with social media and, you know, athletes starting podcasts, like their personalities are even bigger on a grander scale, and it can sometimes affect their performances on the field and kind of how they approach being on the field. So I think having that veteran presence in the locker room is important for all sports, for real.
Absolutely.
How connected are you still with the NFL? Like, are you watching every Sunday? Are you mentoring some of the young players who are currently in the league?
People reach out to me all the time, and I try my best to help when I have time. But I've been so busy with so many different things when it comes to the entertainment space. And I also have my son, who's 15, who's at DeMatha Senior High School, which is an iconic school here in the Washington, D.C. area for basketball and football. But he's there. He's 6'3", 220. He's playing tight end. So I try my best to put time in with him, educate him about the game, show him little techniques, tools that he can use. I don't overwork him. I don't do too much. I kind of let him figure it out by himself, but I do give him some of my secret weapons that I used when I was playing the game. So that takes up a lot of my time. And then I have a 9-year-old son and an 11-year-old daughter.
That's amazing. What are your feelings on your children pursuing professional sports? You know, knowing everything that you had to do over the course of your career, knowing the highs, knowing the lows. Like, I feel like, of course, it would be amazing to see, hey, like, you know, my son follow my footsteps and made it to the NFL. But is that something that you're necessarily hoping for, or are you kind of just like, hey man, like whatever you want to do?
Yeah, I'm like, whatever they want to do, I'm here for them. I'm going to support them in their corner 110%. So I encourage them to pursue whatever it is that they want in life. It doesn't have to be football. It doesn't have to be basketball. It can be whatever, anything.
Mhm. Well, what are your feelings on what the running backs are currently dealing with? There's a lot of contract issues, people wanting, more money. I saw Saquon literally signed today for a 1-year deal, which a lot of people are like, really? Like Saquon Barkley, only a 1-year deal, situations like that. So how do you feel about the current landscape of running backs and receivers and kind of how contracts are structured?
I think throughout the history, throughout time and the history of the game, the upper management in the NFL, they have a great idea of the wear and tear of different positions. And running backs, they have the most. I wouldn't say they have the most wear and tear, but they go through a lot.
Yeah.
They go through a lot of stuff when it comes to their bodies. So they're looking at that. And if you think about the combine, when you go to the combine, they want to test your body. They want to look at your body parts, your arms, your bones, your hips, your knees, your ankles, and make sure that you're durable, right? That's what they want to know before they put all this money into you. And like a guy like Saquon, even though he's amazing, they're looking at they want to, I guess I'm thinking they want to see something else out of him. Maybe his numbers. They're looking at the numbers. He's not putting up the same numbers he used to put up, right? He did have a severe injury in the past. So they might be looking at another running back for next year's draft to maybe replace Saquon,
Right.
because they just want something different. That's what it is. It's just looking at putting everything on the table and say, hey, this is what we need most of. Hey, we've been giving this guy over here, this wide receiver, these 2 wide receivers, X amount of dollars, but we got money in Saquon, so maybe we should give him a 1-year deal, a prove-it deal, or just see what he does, right, this year. If he does well, we forget about the running back that's coming in next year, and we re-sign Saquon Barkley.
Right.
They're just moving pieces around, just being strategic. They're just being strategic about it.
I definitely don't envy the role of owners kind of having to look at the business side of structuring a team and then looking at a talent like, you look at someone like Odell Beckham, who we know is probably one of the best receivers to ever step on the field, but, dealing with injuries and him kind of last year, meeting up with all these teams and taking a bit of time to get signed. Like it's got to be tough to try to figure out, all right, like where is this money going to go? But this guy, like, I feel like if given the right opportunity, like he can be amazing. So it's tough.
I mean, it is about the talent, but it's more about the business.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's about the talent, but it's more about the business, right? On all aspects of the game, it's about the business, and that's the biggest piece to it.
Yeah.
A lot of people looking at it like, oh, he's talented, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but they got other talent. They got talent in other places that makes up for what this guy can do. And then if they can go about and get exactly what they want, then they're going to do it. They might not need what they don't need this talent, this piece of talent right here, this person at this position. They don't need that anymore. They're looking for something totally different.
Right.
It's just the nature of the business. It's all business.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very, very true. Speaking of business, man, you've got your hands in a bunch of other things, as you said, movies. You've appeared on TV, hosting reunions for the challenge. Was acting always something that you wanted to get into, or as your playing career was winding down, was that something you were like, like maybe I should step into this?
I never wanted to pursue acting. I never wanted to pursue music. Life is unexpected. And if your life is unexpected, that means your life is moving in the right direction. You're never supposed to. Yeah, you can set what you set your goals towards. Yeah, it should happen. It should happen, but there should also be a lot of unexpected moments or unexpected things that pop up throughout your approach and the process and the journey of attaining those goals, right?
Right.
And it's supposed to work that way. And that's how my life has always been. It's always been that way. And I feel like everyone should be operating in that manner.
Absolutely. Well, the Ritual Killers, man, you got to film a movie with Morgan Freeman. What was that experience like?
It was great working with Morgan, watching him do what he's always done. I mean, he's the best, one of the best actors to ever do it, with over 500 titles, and to be in his presence was incredible. Even just working with him, sharing the screen with him, like that doesn't happen, man. I'm gonna look back on this movie for the rest of my life. My kids are gonna be able to see this movie. My kids. So to be able to do that, I mean, a lot of people don't get a chance to experience that. I'm extremely grateful for it, and it just gives me motivation to keep pressing on and to get better and better.
Did you two get to spend a lot of time together, like outside of filming, just kind of talking? Like, were you able to pick his brain about acting?
Yeah. He shared. Yeah, he told me a lot of little things. I mean, we spoke about all kinds of things, just the nuances of just being an actor, and just how just my approach, his approach. And he said, so he was like that. He said, he said something that made a lot of sense to me. Like in acting, every action has 1,000 little actions.
Mm.
You understand what that means?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, every action has 1,000 little actions, which means that if I'm supposed to get up and walk to the kitchen, I don't just get up and just walk to the kitchen. There's a destination. I'm going to the kitchen to get a bottle of water. Yeah, but there's a lot of different things that's happening as I'm walking to that refrigerator to get that water, right? I might pick up something. I might look around. I might hear something. I might see something on the kitchen that I might forget, that the stove. I might check the stove. Like every little thing. I'm looking at the refrigerator. I know I'm getting water, but there might be something else that I see that I might touch. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of different things going on. So there's 1,000 little actions in every action.
Yeah. And I feel like that relates a lot to life in general. One of my old football coaches said, doing something great is doing a bunch of small good things and combining them together. And that's something that stuck with me throughout my entire life, because I think greatness can be such a daunting, all-encompassing thing, but you don't just wake up one day and like be great. You work towards it, you build it up. So
exactly.
I definitely feel that. And you've also stepped into the production side of things too, with Real 85 and Between the Lines Productions. What inspired you to create those companies?
Well, I was inspired because I wanted to create my own product. I wanted to create films. I wanted to create the film and also have myself in the film as an actor. So that was the only way. So it was a start for me to create Real 85 Productions, as well as partnering with my partners over at Workhorse Cinema, where we did 5 Bruce Willis movies. We worked with tons of amazing actors outside of Bruce Willis. So it's great to be able to create this and also join forces with other prominent producers, directors, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I feel like what I'm gathering is, you spend so much time in the NFL, and obviously being an entertainer on TV, you're brushing shoulders with different people at award shows, and your taste for things grew to music, to movies, to TVs, to opening your own galleries. And I'm always so interested at like athletes who, obviously have great careers and then kind of use that as a launch pad to create other things and create opportunities for other people. Like it's very altruistic. It's really special to see.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I appreciate it. You're right. And life is supposed to be about empowering, motivating, uplifting people. It's never really, excuse me, it's never really about us. It's more than us. Because when we leave this earth, we can't take any of it with us. We can leave behind a legacy. We can leave behind our name, memories, photos. But the purpose in life is to be impactful for other people. You never know what people are going through. And it's just always great to have a purpose outside of yourself, to be selfless.
Mhm. So, I mean, between the music, between the movies, between production companies, art galleries, hanging with your kids, like, what does Vernon Davis do for fun? Like, what are you doing in your leisure time? Do you play video games? Do you like hiking? Do you travel? Like, what's Vernon Davis doing for leisure time?
I'm hanging out with my kids. Gosh, man, I feel like leisure time is what I'm doing. Like making music, working on the craft of being an actor. That's all fun. That's fun to me. That's not work. Yeah, football was never really work. It was me being a kid, me having fun. Like people ask that question all the time, and I don't. It's an interesting question for me because it's not work for me. I can do it all day, every day. It's just it's fun for me. It is a hobby for me. It's a hobby that happens to be work.
Yeah.
And I never pursued anything that I wasn't in love with. If I'm doing it, that means I love it and I can do it. I don't even have to be paid to do it. I'll just do it. I've done films for as little as $1,000. I mean, you know what I mean? For 10 days or so. I do it because I know that I'm doing something I love.
Yeah.
And money follows success. It's never about money. I never did anything for money.
All right.
I did it for the love.
So it's safe to say Vernon Davis has lived a fulfilling life then.
You can say that. I can't say that because I don't know what fulfilling is because I'm not fulfilled.
Okay. What's left for you? What do you feel like you would want to do that, you know, when you look back, you can say, all right, like I feel fulfilled with everything.
Gosh, man, I don't know if I ever say that. I don't know if I ever can say that, man. I don't know why I can't. I don't know.
Back to that mentality of, you know, being at the bottom and not being satisfied.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm ever satisfied with anything. And I guess that's a great way to be. I mean, because when you have, a lot of times people can come really complacent when they able to get up in the morning, walk around a big house and really really see and feel the fruits of their labor and just come super complacent and just get lazy and tired, don't want to put in the work. Yeah. So, yeah.
I feel that. Well, a couple more questions for you. I got to ask, which team in the NFL did you hate playing against the most? And which defender, defensive back, linebacker, or defensive lineman did you hate going up against the most?
The team I hated playing against the most be the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
Playing against that Cam Chancellor, he was a force. Richard Sherman, they had some defenders over there, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a squad that was unmatched. Couldn't stand playing against those guys.
Yeah. Yeah, they were tough. I was a Colts fan growing up, so naturally I was a Peyton Manning fan. So I followed him to the Broncos, and that Super Bowl in 2014 still haunts me to this day when the Seahawks just destroyed them. It hurt.
Yeah, that was crazy, man. That was crazy.
Yeah.
I remember that game too. I wasn't with the team then, but I remember that game.
Yeah. So it was good to see you and Peyton, you know, be able to get one, you know, 2 years later in 2016.
Yeah.
Which was also a very good game. I mean, Cam Newton was incredible that season. So
yeah, he was awesome.
Yeah. And as far as your music career, like, did you have plans to go on tour, to do live performances? Like, what's the next step from Showtime?
The next step from Showtime is to continue to keep building off of what we've been able to create. The next album will probably be totally different. More singing, more just more of like just of what I'm feeling.
Mm-hmm.
This one was more geared towards game day kind of music. Showtime. Let me put this track on, listen to this song. I'm ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely say upon listening to it, like that's something that I would definitely play in the gym. So I could definitely feel that pregame energy, like, getting hype before it's time to hit the field. So
I play it.
Yeah.
I'm a winner, how I play it. Ain't no beginner, how I play it.
Exactly. Yeah. You captured that energy very, very well with this project. So kudos on that for sure.
Appreciate you.
Who are you listening to pregame, but before your games throughout your career?
Oh, I started listening to, the older I got, the more I started listening to more mellow type music. I would listen to slow music. I stopped listening to like I was out in the car, I'd listen to the hype music on my way driving to the stadium. But then when I get on the field, I start calming down so I can be calm inside.
Yeah. I feel that. Yeah, I've told people I play R&B in the gym sometimes. They're like, "What?" I'm like, "Yo, man, I don't know. I just want to chill, lock in on my technique. Sometimes being a little too amped up, you can kind of lose the process. Exactly. So you don't want to be too hyped up on adrenaline. But I feel that. Could definitely relate. So is there anything that you want to promote to our listeners, to the people who are listening to this? Like, well, what should people be looking out for from Vernon Davis, aka Vern?
There's a show coming out. There's a show coming up on ESPN between now and next week. Any day now. I'm color commentating for professional horseshoe throwers.
Wow.
Which is pretty cool, outside of my room. But when you watch the show, you'll think that I'm a expert color commentating for professional horseshoe throwers. That was fun. I take on opportunities like that because it's interesting, it's challenging, and it's work, because that's not what I do, but it's fun. You know what I mean? So that also there's a look out for a film that I'm in called 72 Hours, which you'll also hear my music in this film with Sam Trammell, who's one of the lead actors in that. And follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Vernon Davis 85.
Incredible. Well, thank you so much for your time, man. This is like I said before, like this is an incredible interview for me. I used to watch your highlights, leading into game day. You and Dallas Clark were like the tight ends who I really studied the most. So this is a crazy moment for 17-year-old Armon. But congratulations on all you've accomplished. Best of luck on everything that you got coming. And I can't wait to see and hear what's next.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Baby girl, how you feeling? I've been out in the world, staying busy, taking time, getting right if you miss me. I've been out in the world, staying busy.
Mondays 9 a.m. Partying with the gang. Every week, tell a friend. Busy over everything. Gotta call now, ain't you heard? Got the vibes, we put you on. Got the slides, I'm the size. Running dog, no, we hold it down.
Baby girl, how you feeling? I've been out in the world, staying busy, taking time, getting right if you miss me. I've been out in the world, staying busy.